All right, howdy folks. It's time for another miniature review. And today what I have is Kaskey Kids Football Guys. Now, what's a little bit interesting about this is that I've been looking for football miniatures for quite a while, and to my surprise, there's actually not a whole lot on the market. There's, of course, Kaskey Kids, but there's also Tudor Games. Tudor miniatures are the ones that are used for electric football, and although they are available, they're honestly not that great looking. They don't look like they would be very fun to paint because there's not a lot of detail on them. So really the only thing I've been able to find is Kaskey Kids, and then maybe one or two other listings that are for like cake decorations. And what's kind of funny is that these are also partially marketed for cake decorations. So it's really strange that there's actually not a lot of these on the market as far as football figures go. But this is the single team pack. There are 13 players. They also do sell them in these giant buckets. It looks like there's like maybe 30 some odd pieces in it. So I'll have to check that one out eventually. And they also have hockey, baseball, soccer, and basketball, and licensed NHL hockey guys. I have also seen NCAA licensed Kaskey Kids figures. So they do have a surprising variety of colors and all that. But let's go ahead and open this up and see what's inside. So here is the package they come in. You get a nice white piece of paper to throw away, and some other information. That's obviously the quarterback. This is a running back, or just somebody that's running with the ball. These 5 are what I assume to be, I guess, down linemen. And these 3, I guess, are receivers. Then we have our referee. So let's go ahead and get these out of the package. So here are all the figures. And there are a couple things that I notice right off the bat that I don't like. And that is the helmets and the faces. Let's take a look at number 22 here. From the front, his face looks fine. It's from the side that you can see that the helmets look a little bit more, they're a little bit pointy on the top, and so they kind of look a little bit more like some kind of like medieval helmet that would probably go with a suit of armor. So it's not exactly a football shaped helmet. From the front you can't really tell. So that's at least there's that. Now, not all of them are like this. Most of them are, but I know there's a couple, if I can find them. So the quarterback seems to be a little bit more rounded, which is good. If they were all like this, it'd be a little bit better. But most of them are kind of pointed like this. There's also no spot where the ears should go. There's no opening like there are on actual football helmets. So that's a little bit disappointing as well. I probably won't try to carve it out. It might be best just to paint it in. So you can see the face is not very detailed. It's just a little bridge for the nose and then 2 openings for the eyes. So not a lot of detail compared to the scale of the model. The scale is probably closer to, this is, for example, a 40K figure. So they're pretty big. So the detail, there should be no reason why they're not detailed. And they do have good detail on the socks, and even on the shoes. You can see the stripes on the shoes. The arms are pretty well defined. The football is well defined. The pads, all the creases on the pants. The shoulder pads are well defined. So there's actually a good amount of detail. It's just that there's some areas where it's not so great. So this is the down lineman. Looks like he has some kind of wrapping on his hands. They have some nice number decals on them. Unfortunately, probably won't use these numbers, so they'll just get painted over. There's actually not a lot of cleanup work that I would need to do. Maybe a little bit here on the helmet. You can see the mold line. A little bit on the shoulders there. And on the legs. So it's not a whole lot. And it's also not that noticeable. So if I were to paint this right now, they wouldn't be that noticeable. The next pose is another lineman, but he's upright. This one appears to be wearing gloves and not some kind of wrapping like the other one. I'd be a little bit worried on where I would paint any kind of names on the back. Might have to lower the number a little bit and put the name probably around there. Good detail on this one as well, on the legs. The helmet is a little bit more rounded on this one, which is good. Our next pose is what I assume is a wide receiver. Same amount of detail. I do like the proportions on the anatomy. I think they tried to go with a little bit more realistic proportions, which is something I would want in a football figure. Two more receivers. Here we have the quarterback. And another thing that I like about these figures is that the style of uniform, I think, is a little bit more classic. They don't look too new, but they also don't look too old. I think it has a good middle ground on which era these might be from. But I do like how they have the shirt tucked in and the pants are kind of high up on the waist. I do like that. It gives it a nice classic feel. The bases on these are obviously oval shaped. If you wanted to make your own bases, you'd have to use a larger base, because something like this, you can see the stance is too wide. But on something like this one would probably work. So you'd have to find a size that fits all of them or is just big enough for that figure. But on their own, you could use these bases for sure. They would be oval shaped, which I don't like. I typically like either rectangles or squares. But oval shaped is fine as well. And these are not going to fall over. These are very sturdy and they have good balance. Last but not least, we have the referee. And we have good detail on the whistle here. The whistle isn't painted, but a decent painter could bring that detail out. Good detail on the pants and the flag here. Got the lines in the hair, the hat. And once again, the face is the one thing that lacks a little bit of detail. But it's not too bad. It could be worse. And it has the same amount of detail on the socks and shoes and everything. So what I'll probably end up doing with these is paint entire teams. So I might take, for example, maybe classic teams like 1998 Texas A&M, and I'll paint the entire offense, at least the starters, and I'll try to use the classic uniform designs. So it'll be interesting to see how these turn out. Overall, I think these are pretty good figures. The price, I believe a set of these costs about $14. The tubs are going to be obviously more, but you might get them cheaper per model. I would definitely recommend these if you're looking for a decent football figure, as there aren't really that many on the market. So I'm going to get started on these, and I'll be seeing you guys in the next one.